Hello and welcome back to Solomon's Cave. In this fourth video, we will look at the fourth and sixth word of Genesis 1 verse 1. Eighth we'eighth. If you read your Bible in English, as well as many other languages, you may expect that after "in the beginning God created," the word for heaven or heavens follows. And to be sure, we will get there. But in Hebrew instead we get the word eighth. And then, after the word for heaven, we get the word we'eighth, before we reach the word for earth. What are these two little words, and why do they look different from each other? To start with the last question first, because it's the easiest. The little prefix we in front of the second eighth is and. So if you're looking for the word and between the heaven and the earth, that is where you'll find it. And just like where with the first word Bereshit, the word in is pasted to the word beginning, here the word and is pasted to the word eighth. But now we still haven't answered the question what the word eighth means and why it is here. Twice. Well, let's get back to the question of word order in Biblical Hebrew. I have mentioned a few times that a typical word order is VSO, verb, subject, object. First the verb, the action, bara, or to create. Second, the subject, the actor, Elohim, or God. Third, the object, the thing acted upon, Hashemayim v'haaretz, the heaven and the earth. But this word order is merely typical and not absolute. Ancient Hebrew authors could also place the subject first, or the object first, often to emphasize. We can do this in English too. The heaven and the earth God created. Or perhaps, creating the heaven and the earth God did. As you can see, in the second example I added a comma and the word did, to make the sentence make a bit more sense, because it sounds a little crooked or poetic. And that is exactly what the word eighth also does here. It clarifies which word, or in this case which words, are the object of the sentence. Here is another example from English. I gave my wife flowers. I gave flowers to my wife. Both of these sentences mean the exact same thing. Yet in the second example, I have to add the word to clarify what is being given and to whom it is given. 3 more comments about the words eighth. First, it is only used when the direct object is definite. So when it is the heaven and the earth, rather than indefinite like a heaven or an earth. Second, if you are thinking about translation, the word eighth is not translated into English, and you should only translate it into any other language if your language has a similar direct object marker. Third, the grammars say that the word eighth is usually used to mark definite direct objects, which means that it is not obligatory to include it. And since it is only customary and not obligatory, we can see that it is included intentionally to make sure that the first line of the Bible contains 7 words exactly. I wonder if the number 7 will show up again in this chapter. Now, I could end the video here, but I do want to address one little pet peeve that I have, and it has to do with Bible codes or hidden meanings or secret Hebrew, stuff like that. Now, this may very well cost me a bunch of subscribers, but I don't really care, because I don't like it. Due to the fact that I'm making these videos, the YouTube algorithm seems to think that I love videos about the Bible and Biblical Hebrew, and I do. And there are some great ones out there. But there are also some out there that, in my humble opinion, produce nonsense. Yet they get a lot of views. Videos about finding spiritual truth in the shape of letters, ascribing a numerical value to letters and their spiritual meaning, or reading the word eighth as Aleph Taf, the 2 consonants, noticing that these are the first and the last letter of the Hebrew alphabet, and seeing Jesus, the Alpha and the Omega, the first and the last, the beginning and the end, in this word, in the middle of the first verse. Oh, come on. No, I'm sorry, but that's not true. I'm not going to engage with these kinds of arguments or lessons. The reason for that is not because I don't believe in Jesus, I mean, I am a Christian, but because of a lack of a proper systematic methodology. Now, I don't want to start preaching here. This channel is not for preaching, but for learning. But these kinds of interpretations are randomly picking letters and words and arbitrarily ascribing meaning to them. There is no objective way to verify any of these interpretations, no standard by which to disagree, and no methodology to follow which you can apply for yourself. You will simply have to take that person's word for it, for they claim to have studied this stuff for 30 years or something, and they now have this secret code or key, which they will never explain in detail, by which they can read the Bible and teach what it really means, or what the Hebrew language really says. No, stay away from those people. There are plenty of really good resources out there, both on YouTube and elsewhere, to learn biblical Hebrew and proper exegesis. But this kind of stuff leads to cults and conspiracy theories. Okay, that's the end of my rant. The next video in this series will be about the word Shamayim, which means heaven or sky or heavens.